So I have shared this link. Take it in chat box. Hmm. So here now we have four types. I mean three types of basically three types of data sharing. Okay, based on the relationship between the components, we will decide which type of data sharing we have to perform. Okay. So first, let us understand the relationship between the component. See, now we are using the selector of this one, create note and display note inside get all notes component, right? So now these two components became the children component of get all notes component. Okay. So now get all notes component is the parent component of display note component. Okay. So now you know icons component selector is used in display note and create note, right? So there is also a relationship between them, that is parent to child. So create note is the parent of icons component and display note is also the parent of icons component, right? So icons component has totally, according to this project, now it will be having three parent components. One is create note, one is display note, another one is update note. That pop-up will come, right? So when you click on a note, earlier I have shown, when you click on a note, this pop-up will come, right? Here also you will use that component, icons component, selector. Okay. That time also this update will become the parent component of this one, icons component. Got it, right? So can you tell me what is the relationship between dashboard component and get all notes component? How? Where? Have you used the selector? Check in dashboard HTML page. Have you used the selector of get all notes? Have you used? That is parent child routing. That is different part. Okay. Routing is different. Data sharing is different, right? So what is the relationship between get all notes component and register component? There is no relationship, right? Hmm. So now we have some sharing here, data sharing here. So parent to child data sharing. If there is a relationship between the components and if that relationship is parent to child relationship, then we will do parent to child data sharing. Means if we have to share any data from get all notes to display notes or create note, in that case what we will do, parent to child. Get all notes is parent, display note and create note is child, right? Parent to child we will do, get all notes to display note. If we are doing data sharing like from display note to get all notes, we will do child to parent. Correct, display note is the child of get all notes, right? That case we will do child to parent. If message is from child component to parent component, child to parent data sharing. If message is from parent component to child component, parent to child component data sharing. Getting right? If there is no relationship between the components at all, in that case we will do unrelated component data sharing. This one, got it? So now we are doing data sharing between get all nodes to display note, right? Because our notes will be displayed in the display note only, right? So in that case we have to go with this parent to child data sharing. Okay. So this is the example for that, whatever they have shared with us. So can you see here, parent component is which component in our case? Yes. And display note is the child, right? Okay, so now I am sharing data from parent to child. So this is my parent message. You can see this is the example. This is the parent message. In the parent message, what they are passing a string. That is like message from parent. That's it. Okay. So that message, how they are passing? Can you see they have used the selector, right? They have used inline template. We are using external template, right? So inline template, what they have given, they inside the selector of that they have created a property called as child message. To that property they have assigned the what variable or the message what they have to send, right? So afterwards, now what this became, what this app child selector became, it is a connectivity between these two components, right? If I remove these two, this line, there is no connection between these two components, right? There is no relationship at all. Correct. So now what you have to do? Now this property should be read in your child component. One minute. See here, because the data is flowing from parent to child, right? So input, okay, input decorator. Input decorator you are using, with the help of input decorator you are input decorator you are reading that property child message, right? Hmm. So now let us check in our code. What is the data that you have to share? Data is nothing but your array that you have to share, right? Correct. So let me go and see in my code how the array is. See, now this is the response, right? This response I'm printing. So if I print that response, see, this is the object. Even you have got this object, right? So analyze this. Inside this object, what is there? Data is there. Can you see array 52 is here, right? So inside this data property is there. When I expand this data property, what I'm getting? I'm getting another data. To that data only my array is assigned, right? So what I have to do now? This is the response data dot data. So if I do that, I will get the array. I have to get only the array, right? Other information is not used. That message, success, true, false. These things are not required for me now. I want only the array. So I have extracted that array exactly. Then what I'm doing, I'm just declaring a variable called note array. You can declare any variable. It's up to you. And I'm giving the data type any. To that variable, what I'm doing, I'm assigning the array. See here, after getting the response, I'm extracting that array and I'm assigning that array to this particular variable. Got it? So after assigning, now I have to do data sharing of this particular variable, right? In which my array is there. So how I will do, I will go in HTML. See, I have declared the property called child message. To the child message, I have assigned that note array, right? This note array. See, this note array is assigned to this child message. So this is the selector of display note. After assigning what I did, let me go in display note ts file and see here. I have done the input, right? Input means I'm reading the property. And because I'm passing an array, I should remove the string, whatever is there in this example, because there they have been sharing string right here. But I'm not sharing string, I'm sharing something else, right? So it is an array. You can give it as array here or you can write it as any. Okay. Now your data is here. Got it? Now what I have to do? Now my data is in array format. Means it has a number of. That's okay. So now inside the array, I have n number of objects, right? You saw here. This each and everything is one object, right? So these objects, what I have to do? If I have to do for loop and extract each and everything, correct? So in order to do for loop, what I have something called ng for. You can see here ng for. Like how earlier we did ng if directive, right? We used ng if directive. So now we are using ng for directive, which provides some additional information to your tags, this tags, or to your what HTML element. Okay, div is one of the HTML element, right? So to this HTML element, you're providing some additional info, right? So this is the way you do looping. So ng for f must be capital. Okay. So you're telling let note is nothing but extracting each and every object from this array called child message. Okay. So from this, inside this note, now each and every object will be extracted in each and every loop. So when extracted, see, this is how I'm printing. You have hard coded this data, right? Title and description. In your display card, it is hard coded. So now you make it dynamic. Note dot title, note dot description. In your case, it will be note dot title, note dot take a note, right? That is what you have given for description. So you just have to give that. This is called as interpolation. This thing using double curly braces is called as interpolation. In this interpolation, what you can do, any property that is defined in your TS file that can be displayed here on your HTML file. Okay. And now since you are looping here only, you are using interpolation. Okay. Because this chain message is there in your TS file only, right? Understood? This is called parent to child data sharing and displaying the data. Okay. Hmm. So now this is done. Afterwards, see, after notes are getting displayed, see, notes initially they may get displayed in any format, okay? Row wise, column wise, anything is fine, but make sure that you will see how it is arranged in Google Keep and you will arrange in the same format. Got it? Okay. Afterwards, after doing that, you will do this one, update component. Can you see this here? Update component. This dialog box part you will do. How to do the dialog box? In Angular material, we have that. Okay. In Angular material, we have dialog here. Can you see here? Dialog is there. Click on dialog. Whatever we want now, that is this example. Pick one. If you click on pick one, you are getting this, right? Content will be changed based on your requirement, but the design is this one, right? What you want. So you know how to take the code, view code. From here, you will take the code, right? Okay. So now let me explain with the project. So what happened when this dialog box should be displayed? When you click on either title or description, not on icons, because icons have specific functionality, right? So not on icons. So you this dialog box should be displayed when you click on title or description. So what you can do, you can give it individually on title and description, or you can wrap them inside one div and give a method to that div itself. Okay. See here, I have wrapped those two things inside one div, right? So to the div, I have given this method, open dialog note, open dialog method. So inside open dialog method, what is there? Understood now this part? Hmm. So let us see what is there inside open dialog method. Inside open dialog method, this is the data I have. Can you see this one? So this is the data I have. See that same thing I have taken from this one. You can see here. See here, correct? Hmm. Okay. So after taking the data, see this is the property called width. Your dialog box width will be decided here only, height and width. Okay. Okay. Now you have to create one more component called update component. Why? Because this view, whatever you are seeing here now inside this pop-up, this one, this is another component, right? So that component is called update component. You have to create one more component called as update component. So after creating update component, here you have to add the name of update component. Okay. See here in the code what they have added a component name here. Here you can see, right? This is the new component here, you can see. Here, dialog overview example dialog is the separate component name, right? So in your case, this component is nothing but your update component. Got it? So you will add here update component. Then afterwards, what now? See, whichever node you click on, that node data should be displayed on your update component, right? So in order to achieve that one, what you will do? See here, you will pass that node. So if you pass that node, what happens? So on whichever node you will click, that node's data will be shared with this method, open dialog method. Okay. So that data you will assign to a data. This is just a variable. You can give any name to this variable. Okay. So to that variable, you are assigning the node. Node means everything will be there. Node means this particular object. You can see here now this one single object. Can you see here? This is one complete object, right? See, for example, what is the node ID? So I have clicked on this first one, right? Yeah, wait. Hmm. Array 52. Can you see? This complete object is shared now. First object. This complete object is shared there with the update component. Can you see here? Update component line number 17. It is shared. I will show you how I have displayed the data. So understood, right? So this complete data is there inside this node, right? So that node you are assigning to this data. So later on, now this is the part that you have to do in display component. Got it, right? Now what you have to do in update components. Now you have already connected your update component with your display component, and now let us go and see in update component what you have to do. In update component, see here, you have to do this. This is the nothing but dependency injection part, right? See here, you are taking the data, right? There you have assigned node to the data only, na? In display node. So that data you are reading here, correct? And you are defining the data type as any. Can you see this part I have taken from here? See, they have given in one TS file only, but we have done separate TS file. See here, this is that part. And see here, they have given data type as dialog data, but we are giving any, right? Because it's an object. So I'm giving as data type any. So my data is here. See, I have done console log and I have printed the data, right? That I showed you here. See, update component line number 17. That is where my console statement comes, right? So now my data is there inside my dialog component, right? Now I just have to display the data on my UI dialog box. So how I will do that one? That part I will do using two-way data binding. We have something called as two-way data binding. Okay, using ng model. So let me show you. First, let me declare a variable. Okay, declare a variable called title, data type any, description, data type any. So I have declared two variables. Okay. So now to these variables, let me assign the title and description. This data. So inside my data only I have title, right? Now same thing. This dot description is equal to this dot data dot description. Understood this part? Where I got this title and description? See, inside this data, see this is the data, right? I have done console log. Right. So inside this console log, what is there? Title is there, right? What is title? Title is there, and here description is there. These two things should be displayed here, na? According to Google Keep. So what? And you can see in Google Keep the data is editable. See, if I click on this, see title and description is there. It is editable, right? I can edit this data. Getting? So it should be an input field, right? I have to display those two data in input field only, right? So now let me go in my HTML page and design this one. Div input. Insert this input tag. Type text. Mm, Then what I will do? Now I will do ng model. Okay, wait. Before that, let me do this. Okay. So first, this is how I do ng model, two-way data binding. Okay, this is the syntax. Ng model. getting? This is the directive. Okay, ng model directive. So to this I will assign the value title, and to this description. Got it? Now let me go and see the UI. Got it? And it is variable also. Can you see? So now, if this data is like I can edit it, then I have to read it, right? In my TS file. So how to read it? So on click, what I have to read? On click one button, right? There is one button, update button, update or close, whatever it is. Okay, I will name it as update. Okay. So when I click on update button, this data should be read. Now one-way data binding I have done. Now let me do two-way data binding. Just what I have to do. See on click update button, I have to create a method. Earlier, whatever you have done, that is one-way data binding, right? Because it is from one page, either from TS to HTML or from HTML to TS, not two-way, right? Now when you take this close button, sorry, close method, go in your update component, create this method. Okay, there is already a method called on no click, so I can use this method only. No? This on no click method is for closing the dialog box, right? Yes, that is for closing the dialog box. Okay, if you want, you can confirm it. I'll show you. Control S. Now see dialog box is closed. Correct. When I call that method, automatically dialog box got closed, right? So now let me do the remaining part here only, data binding part here only. So inside this method, what I have to do, I have to create an object, right? Let me get the data here. Before that only, log this dot title, comma this dot description. See now let me edit this data. Hello is there. Hello updated. How are you? Instead of how are you, I will make it as I'm good. Okay, both the fields are updated. When I click on, see, can you see here? Hello updated, I am good. Correct. Two-way data binding happened, right? Whatever data is already existing means when I click on there, whatever data is here, that is visible to you here. And when I click on do editing and when I click on update, that data is read in your TS file, right? So now data you are getting in TS file. Now you have to do API calling for this. You have update API call, right? In your Swagger. So you have to do that API call here. Got it? Hmm. Hope you understood this one. Remaining part, you know, you have done that thing multiple times, so you will be able to do, right? Okay. Any doubts in this data sharing part and this dialog box part? Yeah. Okay, fine. Oh, okay.